I want you all to think about what you really know about vaccines. You're probably thinking about the shot that you get from the doctor. Well, do you know more? Or is that it? Do you know what the pro-vaccination people are fighting for besides just getting the shot? Or better yet, do you know what the anti-vax people are fighting for? Now, most of us probably don't have kids considering we are in college, but it's important to be educated on the importance of vaccinations and the argument surrounding them. The argument of vaccinations is not a simple one to understand. The anti-vax side is not arguing that measles vaccine causes autism, unless if you're Jenny McCarthy. They're fighting the ingredients, side effects, and the overall effectiveness of the vaccines. The pro-vaccination side has to fight two battles: misinformation and why vaccines are the way to go. This semester, while researching this argument, I noticed two things about the people who choose not to vaccinate. They are ruled by fear and look for information in the wrong places, thus leading them to make a decision that will put their child and others in harm's way. When I asked you to think about what you knew about vaccines, my guess is you probably didn't know a whole lot, and that's okay, because I didn't either. To start off, the goal of a vaccine is to train your immune system to fight off viruses. To do this, you need to introduce a weakened or small dose of the virus into your system, so your body can create antibodies that can fight off the virus if you ever come in contact with it again. An example of this is why I wouldn't get measles, because I have the MMR vaccine and my body already has the antibodies to fight off the measles vaccine if I were to come in the same vicinity that someone with measles is. One thing I can bet you definitely don't know is the ingredients of the vaccine. I mean, right now, name one. Just one. No, you can't. Vaccine ingredients are probably one of the biggest things that set the anti-vax community off. Each vaccine has 6 core ingredients:
preservatives, adjuvants, residual cell culture materials, residual inactivating ingredients, residual antibiotics, and stabilizers.
If someone is opposed to vaccinations, they may have a problem with ingredients such as preservatives, residual culture materials, and inactivating ingredients. The preservative used in the flu vaccine is thimerosal, which is a different form of mercury and is non-lethal to humans. Anti-vaxxers argue that thimerosal will give mercury poisoning to children, when in all reality, thimerosal gives the same exposure to mercury that eating fish gives. The residual culture material is eggs, and obviously can be worrisome for people with severe egg allergies. But have no fear, because they have special vaccines set up for people like that. And it's recommended that if someone has that bad of an egg allergy, that they go get vaccines like the flu in a medical setting with healthcare professionals around. Last but not least is the residual inactivating ingredient, formaldehyde. You might know this liquid as something used with cadavers or used in anatomy classes, and you might hear people say it can cause cancer, but it's also used in vaccines. The anti-vaxxers claim that having formaldehyde can give your kids cancer, but according to public health, the highest amount of formaldehyde present in any vaccine is 0.02 milligrams per dose. An average 2-month-old baby would have around 1.1 milligrams of formaldehyde circulating in their body, with higher naturally occurring amounts for older children. Misinformation is a common thing I saw when I came across anti-vax blogs and websites. In my previous papers, I've come across multiple anti-vax mom blogs and social media pages, but the one I chose to focus on was Crazy Mothers.
Crazy Mothers gives a lot of information, especially on every vaccination and their ingredients. Crazy Mothers chose to focus on those 3 ingredients: thimerosal, formaldehyde, and eggs to talk about. Unlike the CDC, they gave no explanation of how and why it's used in the vaccines.
They didn't go into detail about how formaldehyde is naturally occurring, which a lot of people probably don't know. They neglect to tell you that thimerosal is not a fancy word for mercury. Their molecular formula is completely different. Thimerosal's molecular formula is C9H9HGNaO2S, and mercury's is Hg. Are you going to call water a fancy word for hydrogen? When a parent chooses not to vaccinate, they don't only put their child in harm's way, it puts the public safety at risk. Not only that, but it can also reverse years of work at trying to eradicate a virus.
Take measles as an example. In 2000, the U.S. declared measles eradicated from the United States due to vaccinations. In 2008, we saw measles make a comeback. By the end of 2019, there was 1,282 cases of measles in the U.S., with 91% of those people being unvaccinated.
Measles is more than a bad rash and a fever. According to the CDC, 1 in 5 people will be hospitalized, 1 to 3 out of 1,000 people will die, and there's after effects of measles. If you recover from it, you can get immune amnesia and panencephalitis, which is when the measles virus stays in the brain and can cause seizures, a coma, and sometimes lead to death. So why make the choice of not vaccinating? Why have the possibility of your kid making the headlines for
the nightmarish tale of what happened to a child who wasn't vaccinated, or even 4-year-old Colorado boy dies from the flu?
As I said before, these parents are ruled by fear and choose not to vaccinate. They look at the wrong websites like Crazy Mothers instead of the World Health Organization or the CDC or even the Mayo Clinic. These parents are not ignorant, uneducated, or even lower class families. What they are is scared and misinformed. I hope that my speech helped you understand the argument of the vaccinations a little bit more.